and welcome to today's video. My name is Stacy. I'm a mom of 3 kiddos, my youngest being incredibly active, high energy, and if you're here, you're probably wondering about melatonin, what it is, if it's safe to use on kids. In this video, I'm going to be sharing our family's personal experience with using melatonin for kids, especially for our youngest who is super high energy and has a difficult time winding down in the evenings oftentimes. As always, of course, please consult your child's pediatrician. I am not giving out medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm simply sharing our family's personal experience with using melatonin. As always, you are your child's best advocate, so please do your research and keep in mind that I am just sharing our own experience here today. The things that I'm going to talk about in this video, I want to cover what exactly is melatonin, how it affects the child's sleep pattern, the safety protocols of how to use melatonin, any possible side effects, when not to use melatonin, and the children that should not be using melatonin. I'll also be addressing if melatonin is habit forming. Can you overdose on melatonin? And I'm also going to discuss some melatonin alternatives if you're looking for something even more natural and safe for your young one. Also, before I go on ahead and talk about melatonin, I do want to preface this by saying that melatonin is used as an occasional aid for our family. It is not something that my child is on every single night. We have a very high energy toddler who has a difficult time winding down in the evening sometimes. However, this is not something that is consistent. This is used as an occasional aid. So first things first, let's talk about what exactly is melatonin. So the melatonin in your body is actually a hormone that helps produce or induce sleep. Say hi.
Hi.
And so the natural melatonin that is produced by your body helps with your circadian rhythm. So melatonin itself does not help you sleep longer. What it does aid in is actually helping you feel sleepy and induce sleep. So the over-the-counter melatonin that is sold in the stores is actually a synthetic form of the hormone melatonin. And what it does is it helps mimic the natural occurring melatonin in our own bodies. And funny enough, actually a lot of cough syrups and children's like relaxation medication or any kind of herbal supplements already contain melatonin as one of the ingredients. They just don't market it as melatonin or a sleep aid, but it already is in the list of ingredients. Now let's talk about the practical safety of using melatonin, especially on young kids. Although not many long-term studies have been done on the use of melatonin, they're actually occurring right now because of the heightened use of melatonin in children. Many studies have been done just on the effectiveness as well as the safety of melatonin, and all those studies have confirmed that melatonin is a generally safe hormone or supplement to use on children. Although we personally use it as an occasional aid, even if we used it regularly, studies have shown that even with regular consistent use, it has not been shown harmful at all, and the body actually does not develop a dependency on melatonin. And more importantly, studies have also shown that the use of the synthetic melatonin sold, over the counters does not suppress the production of the natural melatonin in your body, which is huge, meaning that if you take the over-the-counter, synthetic hormone, it's not going to stop the production of the natural hormone in your body. Now let's talk about some of the possible side effects, because as with anything, you kind of make sure you're paying attention to any possible side effects from anything that you're giving to yourself or your kids. I will note that we ourselves have not noted any of these side effects in any of our children when given the melatonin. However, they are possible, so just be careful of that. Some of the side effects that can happen are headaches, possible grogginess in the mornings, potentially bedwetting if they're in such like a deep sleep that they can't get up, which again hasn't happened to us, but it is possible. And one of the other side effects that I have actually personally heard is older kids can get nightmares. Again, we haven't experienced this, but sometimes melatonin can act in a way where the kids might have super vivid dreams. And some instances where kids should not be using melatonin. One of those things is if the child has sleep apnea or any kind of sleep disorders, they should not be on melatonin. And also children under 2 or even 3 years old should not be placed on melatonin. And as always, please consult your pediatrician and talk about this with them before going on ahead and just putting them on the melatonin. I also want to mention that using melatonin is not a cop-out for good parenting, for having a good routine at nighttime for having more regulations in terms of no sugar, no caffeine, and minimal screen time before bed. This is not a substitution for that, and this is not a save-all for parenting to just be like, here, take this melatonin and go to sleep and leave me alone. That's not going to work. But for the occasional, or sometimes if you have a child who's super high energy and has difficulty regulating themselves to sleep, this is going to do more good for them, because a child is going to need their rest. And if they themselves cannot go to sleep within 30 minutes to almost an hour of laying there in bed and they're tossing and turning, that's going to do more harm for them than anything else. Now, is it possible to overdose on melatonin? Fortunately, unlike many other sleep aids that are out there, you cannot overdose on melatonin, which is great because it puts a parent's kind of mind at ease, knowing that even if somewhere the child might have taken a bit too much, they're not going to overdose. And now the other question I always had was, if I give my child melatonin, would they be able to fall asleep without melatonin on a regular night? And the answer is yes, because we have tried it out. They are able to fall asleep, mainly my younger one, if there is enough playtime in the day, enough time for him to get his energy out. We are not giving him sugar, no caffeine obviously, and we are focusing on minimal screen time, then yes, it is much easier for us to kind of be able to put him down. It's still a challenge for us every night to get him down to bed on time and without him kind of bouncing off the walls, but that's simply because that's just who he is. He's a very high energy, very movement oriented, I guess you could say, and that's just him. It's normal for him. But yes, he will go to sleep even if we don't give them melatonin. Studies have shown that melatonin is not habit forming and it's not going to decrease your natural production of melatonin, which is great. Now let's talk about the melatonin that we personally use for our kids occasionally. This is the one that I have found to be the most beneficial. It is very low dose, it's effective, and I feel like my kids enjoy not only the taste, but it actually works. This is the Zarbee's Sleep with melatonin. It's low dose, it's effective, and my kids do enjoy the flavor of it, which I actually have to keep it in a very safe place because my kids tend to want to eat these as like regular gummies. But this is just what I have found to be the most effective. I've used 2 other brands, but Zarbee's so far has been my favorite. It's pretty cost effective. I love that it was developed by a pediatrician, and as you will read on the bottle, it says for occasional use, so please keep that in mind. On the bottle, it actually does suggest starting no younger than 3. I did start a little bit earlier with my youngest son, but like I said, because of just knowing his super high energy, he will literally be up till midnight or 1, even if he doesn't nap during the day. So this was kind of to combat all of that, ensuring that he gets enough rest and he can function the next day. Now, if you're not comfortable with using melatonin, but you definitely need a way to get your kiddos to kind of wind down and relax, there are other alternatives to melatonin. And I definitely use other alternatives more than I would use melatonin. For instance, one of my favorite ways to kind of help with kids winding down is actually a magnesium supplement. And this has been one of our favorites. This is Natural Vitality Calm gummies. This is magnesium supplement gummies, and my kiddos take these every single day, and I have found that they really do help with kind of helping them wind down. I also make sure my kids get a good dose of omega-3, so I use this Barlean's omega-3 fish oil. It has the omega-3s, EPA and DHA, which is super good for their brain development, brain function, and all of that. So this is definitely something I add into my kids' daily regimen. And yes, it says peach, but it still has a fishy taste to it. But honestly, my kids don't mind that much.
Okay.
Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Not your belly, your gummy. Is that going? And if you're more interested in alternatives to melatonin that are more natural, I can definitely go over that in another video. But in the meantime, I hope this answered some of your questions. If you have any additional questions, please let me know and I'll try to address them in the comment section down below. I'll also have the link to all the vitamins I mentioned in my description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one.